Hey there, it's Father Athanasios, and I'm here live actually tonight from my hotel room. We made a couple of stops today, and I wanted to wait to go live until most of you were finished with the liturgy. It is 7 hours ahead, so right now it is a little after 10:30, and so I know everyone back home who was in the first liturgy anyway is now finished. You're probably in coffee hour, enjoying a cup of coffee. The kids are in Sunday school, and so I figured this might be a good time for me to go live so you could actually participate live. Those of you who may have wanted to send a few questions, and I could share with everybody where we've been and what we're doing. So, what I have is again, it's my laptop is in front of me, and so if you choose to send over a question, maybe it'd be a little enjoyable to kind of sit and connect a little bit today. So today was our second day, our first real full day here in the Holy Lands. As I mentioned in yesterday, because yesterday was the Sabbath when we landed, we were not able originally to go to our hotel. So some of the things that we were supposed to do today, we did yesterday, and I covered that in yesterday's update. So today we made two stops. The first one was to the city of Caesarea by the sea. This is the same Caesarea that is the home of the city of Herod the Great, who built the city there. St. Paul was brought there on his journey, eventually leading himself to Rome. This was the kind of home city, as it were, of Pontius Pilate. And it was interesting because the city, as I'm preparing for today's blog, the city has um, multiple layers of history. Of course, King Herod was a pagan, so it has a pagan history. There was a pagan temple built there. Of course, it was built as a Roman city, so it has the Roman bathhouses. It had the palace of King Herod, etc. An amazing harbor there, a port that he had built. And then it became a Christian city in the Byzantine era. And in the Byzantine era, of course, the pagan temple was destroyed, and on the exact same foundation, they built a church. And then it has a Muslim era. The Muslims came in and they destroyed the church, and on the same foundation, they built a mosque. And then the Crusades came through, and the Crusades, as we know, destroyed the mosque and built a new Crusade church, another church. All of that is destroyed today. None of the churches are standing. The place is in total ruins. But it was really interesting to me because as Americans, we don't really have this sense of history that exists here in the old world. I mean, for most of us here in America, if a building is 100 years old, it's something spectacular. Our cathedral, for example, in Tarpon Springs, the church itself is 75 years old, and it's something substantial. I think one of the oldest buildings in America, one of them I know, the oldest wooden building is the home of Paul Revere in Boston. It's a couple hundred years old. It's an amazing thing. 300 years old in the New World is seen as something spectacular. But what I experienced today, and I guess I've always known about this, but it was really evident for me today, is this changing of history through time, and we as Americans just don't appreciate that. I mean, there are neighborhoods that are today might be slums, and one day in the past, and used to have a very populous place and a lot of wealth, and today maybe they're slums, and maybe it has been revitalized. Maybe in some of the cities we have urban revitalization where a fairly wealthy city became a slum and then became wealthy again. But in those situations, you don't see entire new civilizations coming out of these things. It's really just more the status of the families who are living there. So that was really a profound thing that kind of I experienced today. But it's a beautiful city. Of course, we walked to the top of the amphitheater. I'll be posting some pictures later on tonight's blog from that event, from that walk up the amphitheater. We walked through the hippodrome. We stood there on the shores of Herod's palace. It was all quite breathtaking, and I did take some good pictures from there. And then from there, we went to the city of Haifa. Haifa, of course, is a predominantly Jewish city. Most of the cities here are. Christianity is the minority religion, as we know. But in Haifa, we did visit two sites that were very photogenic. I took a couple pictures that I'll post on the blog. One, interestingly enough, I guess they call it the Hanging Gardens. It is where the temple for the Baha'i is, one of their main locations here in the Middle East. And so here we have another example of these multiple layers coming in. You know, the Baha'i is not one of the more ancient religions of the world, but it has become a pretty substantial thing. So we did take a picture, actually, of most of our group looking from above in what is called the Hanging Gardens. And then we were blessed to go to a Roman Catholic church today, the Church of Prophet Elias, where is one of the caves where the prophet slept and lived briefly after having defeated the prophets of Baal. So it was an interesting thing. The church is beautiful. It again, these historical and yet spiritual connections were really wonderful. The rest of this evening we have is a relaxing, again, because we did some things yesterday, so we kind of shortened today's schedule, which is fine with me. We have dinner coming up, and then tomorrow, and I'm going to attempt, if I can get a good signal, to go live actually from the Sea of Galilee. We're gonna get on the boat tomorrow. I'm hoping, because it's just my religious humor, I guess. I'm hoping we don't have a big storm in the Sea of Galilee. Hoping I don't have to jump out of the water and swim to shore as St. Peter did, you know, being not very far away. However, if it's good weather, I think I probably will try to go live from the Sea of Galilee. It is here on the shores of Haifa. So again, there's that sense you can see from here, and we'll talk about it tomorrow in our blog as part of tomorrow's visit. You see the Sermon on the Mount location. And our tour guide today was actually mentioning there is a city on the hill. So here again, we're imagining the words of Christ, and we're imagining telling his people, a city on a hill cannot be hid. And I never considered this before, but I guess he could have pointed over there to say, look, there's the city on the hill. So that should be interesting tomorrow for us to see. So God bless you. I hope your Sunday is, I guess it's still early morning over there. I guess your Sunday has been a blessing for you. Please keep us in your prayers here as we continue our Holy Lands 2020 pilgrimage. I will be working on a blog post for this evening, which is going to be this afternoon for you, I guess, talking a little bit more about what I just said in terms of the ruins and visiting the city of Haifa, and I do have some pictures that I'll share on my blog. One last thing, I will tell you that last night at the hotel, I did not have the greatest Wi-Fi signal, so I was unable to post a couple of pictures of the picture of St. George's Church and the picture of the port of Jaffa, which I was able to add to yesterday's post today. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can see a couple of pictures of the Church of St. George and the port of Jaffa. I'm just imagining, as I mentioned in the blog yesterday, I was imagining the prophet Jonah going on his way and sailing off, not to Nineveh like he was told to, but instead he went to Tarshish. So that just goes to prove that you have to do what God wants, and then all things will work. So God bless you. Again, my name is Father Athanasios. I'm going live from the Holy Lands as part of our daily